United Nations is recognizing children throughout the world who are victims of physical, mental and emotional abuse for the International Day of Innocent Children Victims of Aggression. This week, Kenya's Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit raised a red flag over the alarming and sudden spike in online human trafficking, recruitment and exploitation of children in Kenya, with concerns the trend will continue for as long as children are home and online. Head of the unit, Mweni Mutisia, came out publicly reporting concern that despite the dusk to dawn curfew, cessation of movement, intelligence reports reveal human traffickers are capitalizing on the online platforms to recruit, groom and exploit children, as well as adults are feeling the pinch of the emaciated economy as a result of Covid-19. Well, in studio to talk more about this emerging concern and international cooperation in dealing with the same is the Deputy British High Commissioner to Kenya, Susie Kitchens. Many thanks for your time. We also have Lawrence Sokoth, who is a forensics expert working with the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit. Susie, let's begin with you. Many thanks for joining us. I mean, despite the dusk to dawn curfew and measures to contain COVID-19, we are receiving reports that there is a spike in online trafficking of children and online recruitment all at the same time. Your thoughts on this report?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. And today, as you said, it's an international day where we put the spotlight on children who are innocent victims of aggression. Child abuse is never, ever acceptable at any time, but we are seeing, under these conditions of COVID, a particular spike in vulnerabilities. So part of it, as you say, it is the lockdown, because while we've seen that curb criminality in some aspects, it does mean that vulnerable children may be locked at home with an abuser and they have no way of escaping. So their situation becomes even more precarious.
Absolutely. Let's bring in Lawrence Sokoth. You're a forensics expert working with the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit. This week, that same unit raising a red flag. Talk to us about some of the most common or key areas of concern in this report.
Yes, as you have confirmed, there is an upsurge in the reporting of online-related abuse cases relating to children. And what we have realized as the government gave a lockdown measure as a measure to control the spread of COVID-19, this in itself has also caused another pandemic to children that is unrelated to COVID-19, that is online child exploitation. And we can confirm that there are a lot of reports about the same. And we advise that they be reported so that we act on them at the unit.
What are some of the issues being reported at this time, Lawrence? I mean, considering the context of the situation, the COVID-19 pandemic, many children, we report many of these cases mainly happen at home. Many children are locked up with people who may be their predators to begin with. What are some of the cases being reported? Okay, as a unit, we have done international partnerships and through international cooperations, because online is a global thing. When you go online, the borders, there is no border of intercountry. So we have partnered with international organizations, and one of them is National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, whereby all social medias, Facebook, they report to this organization, and through this organization we get the reports related to Kenyan domain. So some of the reports that have come out through the reports we receive from National Center for Missing and Exploited Children are like child sexual abuse material that is online, and they are shared by predators, and even children themselves are unaware that the predators can use it to actually harass them online. So there is cyberbullying, there is also cyber online
online abuse materials that are out there that can turn against the children.
All right, Susie, the UK has continued to prioritize protecting children from predators and traffickers, even partnering with Kenya to help safeguard vulnerable children. How has that progress been?
Yeah, so it's a partnership that dates back to 2016, where colleagues from the British government who work for our National Crime Agency have partnered with the Kenyan Police Service and the DCI's office to set up a unit. So we're tackling both online crime, as has been mentioned, and sadly that is international, and there are occasionally British nationals involved in this. So it's right that we tackle international crime where it affects children online, but also, as I mentioned before, the physical crime that's happening in people's homes. So the partnership is long-standing. It is both financial, so we've helped to physically set up a unit here in Nairobi and also in Mombasa, and to equip it, including with a cyber wing, so that we can process some of that data that comes through from social media sites and other locations to track where child abuse is happening online. Absolutely. Or being streamed into Kenya. And we also provide ongoing training and mentoring. The size of the team that the DCI has put to tackle this problem in Kenya has grown a lot over those last few years, and we're pleased to have an ongoing and really strong partnership with them, where we share information and knowledge and continue to improve the way that we deal with this horrible crime.
Let's talk about the operational child protection unit in Nairobi that has been working really since 2016, and the gains that have been made from that, because even with the establishment of such units or such institutions, at the end of the day, implementation of laws defending children or protecting children becomes the loophole on the ground.
Well, this is a very operational response that we're supporting through the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit, both in Nairobi and Mombasa. In fact, last year, 92 children were safeguarded. Now, it doesn't seem like a huge number, but that's 92 children who were experiencing the most horrific things that you wouldn't want to imagine, and now they are safe. So that is really important. And the data that we get from this and understanding how crime networks function, the role of online criminality feeding into physical criminality, where these people are, the gangs that support them and how they finance it, all of that information can then be fed into policy making to ensure that we have legislation that prevents this problem happening in future.
Absolutely. Lawrence, let's bring you in once again. Now, there is the online criminality which goes across the borders, considering the internet. But let's speak about the trafficking and exploitation of children at home and within their home set-up areas now in the wake of Covid-19. And in these instances, many of these predators will be people well known to the children, mothers, fathers, brothers, uncles, sisters. What is the response required in these situations?
The response in this situation, we advise that all the parents should advise the children and should get to know what their children are doing online. They should also visit the online apps that the children are using so that they get to know what is happening there. They also need to set limits on what the children can access online through locking some apps. And as a unit, we advise. Remember, you said the other day we gave advisory that there is an alert on upsurge of online-related cases. So as a unit, and through the partnership of the British government, we also have a forensic lab, mobile, that can move around to reach any child. So on trafficking, you find that the people who are trafficking child might have accessed the children before, or they are using the internet now to gain trust from the children, then they detach them from the parents. So all this we handle at the unit.
Where can such incidences be reported in the event a child feels they are in danger, somebody suspects a child is in danger?
Yes, we have through mobile phone 116. you can also report to any nearby police station, that is at the DCI or the police station, because through internal communication we are able to get and also advise the officers at that level if there is, if need be, so that we expertly handle, because all our evidence are online, are digital, and when improperly handled, we can lose even the trace of the offenders. So through 116, any parent can call, and also you can report at the police station physically, walk-in reporting. You can also visit our Mombasa branch. We have a branch, and Nairobi, we have the headquarters at South Sea, where you can do a walk-in report so that we can take up the case.
Absolutely. Susie, let's bring you in once again. Like the spike in these cases mostly occasioned by increased online activity by most children, many of them being home at this time. But moving forward in terms of legislation regulating any online space, conducting investigations on any online space have been quite a hindrance to many investigations. What solutions can we borrow, especially from countries like the UK, in this situation?
Yeah, it is a really difficult area because it is across boundaries. These are platforms and sites that the abusers use that are difficult to govern because of their international and online nature. But there are options for doing that, and what we do need from this work that's happening through the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit in Kenya is the evidence and the data that helps us understand the problem so that we can legislate appropriately and learn from around the world about what works well. But it is a lot about the skills of the teams working in these units and how they can gain the trust of the children to help them and be effective in breaking that chain of abuse. All
right, taking it into a larger context, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development does provide a universal master plan to secure a better future for children, including targets to end all forms of violence, all forms of abuse, neglect and exploitation of children. How close are we to achieving this, not just as a country, but as a continent? Susie.
I think we're getting closer. It is very difficult, but having spotlights like this International Day, where we talk about it, where we raise consciousness, where we engage policymakers, we engage operational experts, and we, through the media, get the public on side on this important cause, it's all going to help drive progress.
Absolutely. Lawrence, your final word before we wind up. I mean, the numbers keep rising. What can you attribute this to at the basic society level so we can start remedying the problem?
The networking in the area, coverage in the area is growing in Kenya, and also the use of virtual resources like Zoom, these other virtual tools that help us work from home and also study online. So as the children engage in virtual communication, some of these, the predators are also designing ways of how to connect to the children by sending cookies. And in any case, the children connect to cookies, they are automatically connected to the predator. So we attribute that.
Has there been any successful prosecution of a predator in this instance, Lawrence?
Yes, we are actually we are the unit, the cyber section handling online cases is actually 1 year old, and most of our cases are actively before court. So, yes, so at the moment, we have cases before court that we expect to achieve convictions.
All right, many things. That is Lawrence Okoth, forensics expert. Susie, your final comments on this, even as investigative agencies continue to probe the situation.
Yes, I mean, it is a horrible, horrible thing that happens. We know it happens here in Kenya, it happens in the UK, it happens around the world. And what we need is that joined-up approach to tackle it, and ongoing resources. And we're doing our bit as the British government. We're very grateful to the DCI for his partnership. There's more that we need to do together.
Many thanks. That is the Deputy British High Commissioner to Kenya, Susie Kitchens. We've also been speaking to Lawrence Okoth, who is a forensics expert working with the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit. On this 4th day of June, the United Nations recognizing children throughout the world and the International Day of Innocent Children Victims of Aggression. This is Bottomline Africa. We take a short break now, but more news still to come. Let's leave you with Destination Africa.